I'm an ENTP who specializes in coaching fellow ENTPs. And today I want to give you my 5 best tips for dating and authentic connection and communication. Tip number 1, don't ask BS questions that you don't actually care about. I know you hate small talk, just like me, and sometimes you might feel pressured into asking things like, so where'd you grow up? What do you do for work? But I'm guessing you don't actually care about the answers to those things. So I challenge you to go deeper and find better questions to ask. And if someone else starts out with small talk, you have the power to redirect the conversation to something you find more interesting. You don't have to feel powerless that, oh no, this person has taken me into small talk territory, now I'm stuck there. You always have agency to change the topic. Do it respectfully, not just suddenly. But one of the questions that I love asking is, what's something interesting that you've been thinking about a lot lately? Or do you have any personal projects that you've been working on lately? Or what's the best book you've read recently? So those are fairly innocuous questions that you can ask instead of, so what do you do? Number 2, at the same time, small talk serves a function. If you meet someone for the first time and your first question is, so, what is the hardest challenge you've overcome in your life? Or tell me about your childhood trauma. Or what do you think is the meaning of life? That's a bit too much too fast for most people, right? And I get it, we NTPs are kind of uniquely able in some ways to go deep quickly. But I imagine that if you're anything like me, if you really examine your experience, what you'll notice is that if you're not sure where someone else stands yet, if you've just met someone and you're not sure how safe they are, if you're not sure how judgmental they are, if you're not sure to what extent they share your values and worldview, you're actually going to be hesitant as well to fully open up about some of your deepest stuff, right? So if you just met someone who, say, you suspect is from a different political party than you believe in, or is a very different personality type, like an ISTJ, say, if they ask you, so what's your greatest fear, or what's the scariest thing that's ever happened to you, the most humiliating thing that's ever happened to you, or something like that, you're probably going to filter through a few possibilities for how you could answer, and you're probably not going to say the most vulnerable thing. Or some ENTPs might, to be purposefully controversial, they will pick kind of the big, shocking thing, right? But I don't think that's actually connective, right? So the question is, are you trying to be kind of the class clown? Are you trying to get attention and be an edgelord shocking them? Or are you trying to actually connect, right? So in that case, it's often better to meet someone where they are. So you start with something that is less risky, less edgy, and you work your way up to the more interesting stuff. But you also need to stay engaged with the conversation. So don't talk about boring stuff for too long, right? Change the subject if you get bored. Number 3, this is going to be a hard one for you. It's been a hard one for me, but get out of your head. Stop strategizing so much. Stop trying to decide how long you should wait between replying to text messages. Stop trying to analyze what is the right thing that I'm supposed to say right now. And instead, get out of your head and into your fuller human experience. Get into your body, into your emotional landscape, and feel your way to an answer. If they ask you, so what do you want to do for dinner? You don't logically work out the answer. What, rationally speaking, is the ideal restaurant to choose? You ideally say, well, hold on, let me think about that for a moment. And you check, what would feel best? What kind of feeling experience do I want for dinner? It's not what is the logically best place to eat. It's how do I want to feel? Do I want a vibe that is more romantic? A vibe that is more playful? A vibe that is more kind of snooty foodie, right? So that's a feeling experience. It's not logic. And you can only get there by getting out of your head. So that goes along with number 4, which is slow down more often to check your preferences. How am I feeling right now? What do I need right now? What do I want right now? Because the thing is, we ENTPs, if you know about the cognitive function stack, our third function is FE, extroverted feeling, which is all about how is the other person doing? How is the group doing? What do they need? What are the social norms here? But it's our third function in the stack, so it's lower ranked, it's less mature, but we go to it all the time because it's externally facing. So we're often very concerned with what do they want, instead of going to our second function, which is internally facing, TI, introverted thinking. And that's more about not just logic and rationality, but also kind of internal meaning making, internal thinking about how do I subjectively categorize this or think about this? What kind of story am I telling myself internally? And so, TI is often associated with pure logic, but really the higher form of TI, the more mature form of TI, is recognizing that logically speaking, humans are irrational, right? Logically speaking, we are squishy animals. So an immature TI would say, everything should be strategy in my head. Everything should logically make sense. But that's trying to fit a round peg into a square hole. The more mature version of TI says, logically, emotions are a key part of the human experience. So logically, if I want to really connect with someone, it's not just intellectual. It's got to be emotional and somatic as well. So that brings us to the 5th tip, which might be the hardest one for you, but I think it's actually the most powerful tip. Slow way down. The speed with which we ENTPs operate is often what feels aggressive to other types. It feels overpowering sometimes. It feels like we have this debatey energy that can be uncomfortable to them. Like we're always trying to prove a point. We're always trying to defeat them in the argument. We're always trying to go, with more and more logic piling on. So especially to introverts or to feeling types, it can feel like I'm fighting you instead of trying to connect with you. And the best way to combat that is slowing way down, along with those other tips of getting out of your head, into your body, communicating with feelings. But all of that other stuff is going to be hard to do if you're going too fast. If you're just spitting out words, you can't actually check in with what is my preference right now? What is my need right now? What am I feeling right now? How is this conversation going? Am I connecting with this person? Am I noticing their cues? Am I being curious about them? Are they following me? Or am I just rambling on about some topic I'm passionate about and I've lost them? Right? That's what happens to the ENTPs a lot. That we're so passionate about something, we're going on, and they're off daydreaming. We're not actually connecting. So you have to slow down to a much slower speed than you're used to because your mind goes so quickly. Your mind goes faster than your body and your emotions can keep up with. So you have to practice slowing way down to be able to track how you're doing and how they're doing. And that's how you can really connect. So the 5 again are pick better questions. Don't ask about things you don't actually care about. But also, small talk is valuable for a reason. Meet them where they are. Don't try to go too deep too quickly. Number 3 is get out of your head. Stop strategizing so much. Get more into your body, into your feelings. 4 is, what are my preferences right now? What do I actually want? What do I actually need right now? Instead of obsessing over, am I doing it right for them? And number 5, slow way down. Go into that date operating at 50% speed. Just try it on. See what that's like to really slow down so you can actually check, what am I feeling right now? What are they feeling right now? I hope that helps. I hope you have a nourishing day.